Bat Family, and welcome to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. You can find us all over the internet. Just search for Holy BatCast on Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all those places you will find us. If you're a big fan of the show, you want to support us, you can do that on Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/holybatcast. As always, a big old thank you to our patrons. You guys don't have to be this generous, but it means the world that you are. You're awesome, and I really, really do appreciate it. So thank you for making this show that much easier to keep going. Our patrons are the best, and we appreciate you. We are also part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can check out all those shows at rf4rm.com. And finally, I'm your Bat host. As always, you can find me all over on all the socials, all the same places that I just said. It's just Andy DiGenova, easy to find. So Twitter, X, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. Even though I still haven't made Threads part of my daily life, I just haven't. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. Another holiday is upon us. I hope that you're nuzzling someone nice and close to you. And if not, share the love of all the people in your life this Valentine's Day. So we're going to celebrate the holiday by continuing a conversation that started over on The Fire Rises. So that's right. If you looked at the title of this episode, you were like, part 2, how did I miss part 1? Because that happens every time we do a part 2. People go, "What? Where did part 1 go?" You got to listen. Then you got to go back and find part 1 on the other podcasts. So we did part 1 on The Fire Rises. Part 2, we're going to continue ranking Batman's cinematic love interests. So joining me, first of all, my personal Valentine, my forever Valentine, the person the only person I'd want to spend Valentine's with, other than Brendan. It's Kathrynn DiGenova, my wife.
Oh, hi, babe. I really thought you were going to throw a curveball.
No, it's you. Who else would it be?
I
love these other guys, but I mean, they're no Brendan.
Yeah, if Brendan was here, that would have been the case. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, where's this going to go?
It's just you.
Well,
you know.
That's so nice. I love you.
I love you. Welcome back.
Thanks.
We missed you. And it didn't feel right doing a Valentine's episode without you.
Well, that's nice. I appreciate it.
And it was a hard-fought battle to get you on the show.
Friggin' fought, man.
Oh my God. Trying to get a 2-year-old to sleep is not fun.
No. And now I've got to have energy enough to talk after laying in a room for 2 hours in the dark.
Well, there you go. See? I hope you're refreshed. It was like a power nap.
Yeah, definitely like a power nap.
Also joining us, our 2 pals from The Fire Rises, our friends at that other Batman podcast that we were so nice and gave multiple plugs to on the last couple episodes. I hope they appreciate it. I hope they felt the love. So first of all, I guess he's the host and founder of The Fire Rises, right? I think it was his party to begin with. It's Eric Carter. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Andy. Thank you for having me and doing this crossover. And yeah, I appreciate the TMs that made me chuckle every time. So thank you for those plugs. And Kathrynn, I'm sorry you weren't able to be on the first half. We did miss you.
Oh, thanks.
And so the Robin to Eric's Batman. And the one who thought of this whole crossover to begin with, he's the one who pitched it to us, pitched it to me. And he's also the one who was like, say our podcast. And so I did. So it was for him. It's Joe Fornerato. Hey, Joe.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, thanks for making me feel like crap about the plugs nonstop. I appreciate it.
What do you mean? Ask and ye shall receive.
Oh man, I do. When the first time one of you said TM, I nearly fell off the chair.
The Fire Rises, man. The only Batman podcast better than Holy BatCast.
Yeah, well, so Eric is definitely the brainchild there, and he does all the work. I do nothing other than show up every other week and just kind of talk about stuff. So thank you for having us on. This is it was my idea, but I still really appreciate being able to do it with you, and it's always fun to come on here.
Well, good. It's good to have you. Welcome back. Jamie and Brendan send their regards. They say Happy Valentine's Day. Brendan promised he was going to send photos to all of us as Valentine's presents, so don't open them around your wives.
Or in public.
Yeah, something to look forward to, I'm sure. Anyway, we're going to talk about Batman cinematic love interest. But before we do that, something else that's perfect for Valentine's Day is Manscaped. we got to give a shout out to Manscaped. So 2024 is here. We're in full swing, and it means it's time for a New Year's resolution check-in with our friends over at Manscaped. It's never too late to level up your grooming game and keep your bush tamed. Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is every man's cheat code to look good, feel good, and turn the page on confidence this year. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. The ball is dropped, but don't drop the ball on your balls. Go to Manscaped, manscaped.com, get 20% off, get your free shipping, and keep it all trimmed up and looking good. Again, it is perfect for Valentine's. I know at this point, Valentine's is only a couple days away, so you're not going to get it in time. But hey, if Christmas can last for 6 weeks and Halloween can last for 6 weeks, you can make Valentine's last till the end of February. Order your trimmer, order your grooming products. Go to manscaped.com, get the trimmer, or get the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. That's very useful. The Handyman shaver, I'm a big fan of that. The deodorant, the body wash, the shampoo, they have you covered no matter what it is you need. But if you're going to make a purchase, just please use that promo code BATSCAPED, get your discount, save some money, and you're also supporting Holy BatCast in the process. I would love it. I would appreciate it. And I do appreciate all of you who've already done it. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show by making that purchase. And I hope you all have been very happy with your Manscaped products, because I have been. I use them every day. They're the best. So go to manscaped.com, use the promo code, get 20% off and free shipping. Batscaped. There you go. So please and thank you. We would love it if you would do that. Now, let's get to the topic at hand. Let's talk romance, but romance through the lens of Batman. It's what we do. Because you know what? There's nothing wrong with another holiday special. So without further ado, we are going to take a look at our favorite Batman cinematic love interests. Now, let me give you guys a little update on what you missed. I mean, you should go back to The Fire Rises. You absolutely should. The Fire Rises, TM, Batman podcast. Keep the bat signal pointed skyward and lit and something. It's terrific. It's great. They're so good at what they do over there. But in case you forgot, you already listened to it and then you forgot to listen to part 2, and now it's been months. I want to tell you what's going on here. So Joe was like, "Hey, Andy, Valentine's Day is coming, and we should rank Batman's love interests." And I went, "I love that idea. I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it. What do you think?" And Joe goes, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Well, are we doing comics, or what are we doing everybody?" And he's like, "I don't know. I haven't thought about it." And so we went back and forth and we came up with a plan, and we decided to do cinematic love interests because it's a much more easier and manageable group of ladies to discuss. So we chose the 10 cinematic love interests to rank. And then back on The Fire Rises, TM, we gave little shout outs, a little chat about some of our favorite comic book love interests that might not have gotten the love because they haven't really been represented in movies so much. So check that out. So we came up with a list of 10, pretty much every major Batman love interest that's been in a movie. And here's the list, just as a refresher. You already know this. You already listened to The Fire Rises, but just in case. We start with Catwoman from Batman the movie, 1966. Vicky Vale from Batman, 1989. Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, 1992. Andrea Beaumont, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, 1993. Dr. Chase Meridian, Batman Forever, 1995. Julie Madison, Batman and Robin, 1997. Rachel Dawes from the Dark Knight trilogy, but specifically Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Selena Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises. Miranda Tate, also from The Dark Knight Rises. And then finally, Selena Kyle, yet again, from The Batman. So we've already talked about our numbers 10 through 6. And so if you're tuning in here and you're like, I don't have to listen to the first half, but I'm the world's biggest Julie Madison fan, I got bad news for y'all. You missed it. You missed it. If you want to hear all the nice things we have to say about Julie Madison, you got to go back and listen to part 1. But we did number 10 through 6. And so now we're going to finish it up. We're going to go from 5 up to number 1. But here's the thing. My lovely wife, Kathrynn, was being so nice and sweet and supportive and wrangling our beautiful daughter. So she didn't get to be part of part 1.
Sorry.
And don't apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our daughter has a will of her own these days.
You were fighting the good fight, Kathrynn.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
So I want to hear Kathrynn's 10 through 6. And from there, we'll pick it up at 5, and then we'll go round robin and see how all of our lists end up. And of course, you guys know I love my math. I put it out on the Facebook page. So if you're not following the Facebook page and you're like, damn it, I didn't get to vote, you got to follow the Facebook page. And so I crunched the numbers. And so after all of this, after we share our lists, I'm going to share how you guys voted, which will then be the definitive list of Batman cinematic love interests, because that's how it works. So that'll be fun too. So anyway, Kathrynn, I'm so glad you made it for part 2.
Thanks. Well, I feel like it's like a spoiler because I also wrote my top 10 on the Holy BatCast page. Before we
That's okay. If anyone's that committed to go check, like, God bless them.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't as controversial as my DCEU ranking.
That, you know what?
Oh,
we support
I forgot about that.
Yeah. But our marriage has survived.
Yeah. Well, today. Happy Valentine's Day.
And after, I mean, we already bought Valentine's gifts, so we got to at least ride it out through the end of the month.
Said we weren't going to do that. We did it.
Anyway, I want to hear your 10 through 6,
okay.
honey.
All right. Well, I guess the only kind of spoiler is that I left somebody off the list because to me, the bottom 2, I just forgot they even existed. So that being said, my number 10 was Miranda Tate and my number 9 was Julie Madison, and it's pretty interchangeable. My number 8 was Dr. Chase Meridian, but only really above the other 2 because her hair is iconic. And number 7 was Selena from the Batman, and if you want to know why, you can go find me on Letterboxd. And then my number 6 was Anne Hathaway's Selena Kyle. And that's probably when I start to care about the number on these lists, because everybody from 6 to 10 was like, maybe this, maybe that. But yeah. And I'm still disappointed you didn't have Poison Ivy on this list. And I understand why. But,
Yeah, I don't really count her as a love interest. I mean, kind of.
You could argue she's probably more of a love interest than Julie Madison, I guess. I didn't really think about it.
There you go.
Well,
for Batman and Robin?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Maybe a Robin love interest almost.
I mean, she's
more Robin
she's
than
kind of
Batman,
both, but I mean,
yeah.
She doesn't go on a date with either of them.
Well,
I guess Julie does.
Julie does.
Yes.
Julie has that romantic dinner by the fireplace in Wayne Manor.
Is that the qualifier?
I'm just saying.
Yet Bruce calls her Pamela.
He does.
Or
he does.
Ivy. I'm sorry, Ivy.
And this is why Julie Madison deserves a little more respect. She takes that in stride. She's like, who's Ivy? And he's like, what? She's like, you called me Ivy. That's weird. Instead of being like, what the hell, dude?
Well, apparently she dies right after that. So
allegedly.
Well,
honestly, honey, a few of those you're right in line with us.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. We all had Julie Madison and Miranda Tate, and 2 of us had Chase Meridian in our bottom already.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was the only one that had Miranda at 10, like you. So.
Okay. Well, to be fair, if you look at Facebook, I totally left her off the list. I straight up just didn't even acknowledge her existence. So I don't know what that says.
Poor Miranda. It was the death scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think it's, it's a number of different things, but that's a big one.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for catching us up. That's what you missed
You're
on Glee.
welcome. There you go.
Mhm.
Boop, boop, we do.
Awesome. All right. Well, then let's start at number 5 and work our way up. So, yeah, keep on going, honey. What's your number 5?
Oh, well, my number 5 is Selena from Batman the movie. Because Lee Merriweather is iconic and she's the OG in the original. So
She
feel like
is.
yeah.
But her name is not Selena Kyle in that.
Well, not Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Catwoman specifically.
Catwoman and Miss Kitka, which she also has like 10 other Russian names that I can never remember.
She's the Katya of the Batman lore.
Indeed, she is. Yeah.
Yes.
I respect that
Nice.
she's in your top 5. I like that.
Thanks.
Does
I
that
like
help your guilt, Eric?
It does.
Because you had her so low?
Yeah.
How low did you have her?
She.
You have to go back and listen, honey. You got to listen to Fire Rises. Sorry.
Well, shit. Did he tell you? You guys actually showed up on my like suggested podcast recently, and I think it is because Fire Rises TM has been stated so many times. I was like, this isn't true crime.
And here's everything.
Yeah, your phone heard it.
Yep.
Awesome.
It's working.
Like your evil plan is working. All right, so Catwoman from Batman the movie is your number 5.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Eric, what about you? What's your number 5?
So my number 5 is Selena Kyle from The Batman. And it's no secret how much I like this movie. It's one of the biggest surprises to me in the last several years is how much I liked it, and I really did like the chemistry between Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz. I just think they played really well off of each other. It was a strong tit for tat between them, and I don't know. I just really liked how that story progressed throughout the film with those two. It's like they were the byline through the film. So yeah, for that, and I thought Zoe Kravitz gave a phenomenal performance as Selena Kyle. So for that reason, she cracked my top 5.
All right. Well, then I'm jumping ahead of Joe because Selena Kyle from The Batman is also my number 5.
Nice.
For the reasons you say. I think that Selena and Bruce's back and forth, their tit for tat, their partnership there, but it is a strained partnership. It's all very much what I would want from a Batman Catwoman relationship, where they're partners and they agree on some things, but not all things. So they're often at odds. And I think that is done really well in that movie. And it's one of my favorite things about the movie is the scenes of the two of them together. Like you said, Zoe Kravitz was perfectly cast, and I think she's great. And so, yeah, I think that she made the top 5 because she is strong and is doing her own thing, and I think she makes for a equal partner to Batman in the movie.
Andy, I guess we'll stay married after this.
When we were going through our rankings on the first part, and this one didn't come up, I was pleasantly surprised, Andy, because I honestly didn't expect her to be in your top 5.
Shockingly, I do try to be as objective as I can. Like Vicky Vale was my number 6. And do I have more nostalgia for Vicky Vale? Of course I do. I love Vicky Vale. I love Kim Basinger. But when I'm looking at the characters, Selena from The Batman is just a stronger character than Vicky Vale. So I had to give credit where credit is due.
Makes sense. I like it.
This is fun for me because I don't know what all y'all's 5 was, so I don't have a process of elimination over here.
Yeah. So Joe, what's your number 5?
My number 5, surprisingly low for me because I love these movies so much, and it's not an indication of what I think of the movies at all. But I have Rachel Dawes at number 5. I think the recasting definitely hurts my opinion on the love interest, but we hear that Bruce loves her. We hear that they've known each other forever, but do we ever really see them being in love? And I think that's why, listen, I love the movies. I love what is presented to us, but to me, I have it so low because of those reasons. We're told that Bruce loves her, but like I just never got the idea that we're seeing why he loves her as much as what's going on other, in the movie besides that. And I don't know. I definitely think her death in the sequel, the recast hurts that because it doesn't feel like to me the same character. Um, but I still love both performances. I mean, I'll defend Katie Holmes' performance in the first one. I think if Katie Holmes is Andy, you've said this ad nauseum. If Katie Holmes was in the sequel, or if Maggie Gyllenhaal was cast in Batman Begins, and we got the same actress in both films, I think it does a lot for the character. But for whatever reason, for me, I just have the other characters higher because I just appreciated what they did a little bit more.
Yeah.
Fair. Well, Andy, if you don't mind if I jump in here, because Rachel Dawes is my number 4. So while we're on this roll here, a lot of the stuff you said, I mean, I do kind of find it more of a unrequited love. So I guess it doesn't have to be, spoken that they're dating or whatever. The reason she's not higher is kind of exactly what Joe said. For me, the switch in actresses makes it feel almost like it's a different character. Both great performances, and I do think with the whole tragic loss of Rachel, it might be the strongest love interest relationship that we have in a Batman movie or movies, just because of the tragedy and how you really wanted to see them together, but you knew it couldn't happen. And then the whole thing with Harvey and the love triangle. So I do love the performances. I think it's a really strong character. The only thing that knocks it down is the recast for me.
Well, Eric, I think I just have to fully agree with you, and I'm also number 4. Like, she's also my number 4, so we're in the same boat. I think the recasting hurts it, but I also feel like the Maggie Gyllenhaal performance for me is a lot stronger in terms of their love interest. Like, I think the pain of them not being together says so much more than everything in Batman Begins did with Katie Holmes. So I'm not in this party. Rachel Dawes in the middle party.
All right.
Nice.
Rachel Dawes at number 4 for Kathrynn and Eric. So, Joe, what about you? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is actually The Dark Knight Rises Selina. I think because of the, like you had said earlier about how she does basically leave him in the middle of the film, brings him to Bane. That could have gone a lot worse, even though it goes pretty bad. But it and
listen, Bruce is a good dude to look past all that and be like, you know what, we can work through this.
Yeah, it's a little bit it's a little bit worse than just saying the wrong name. I'll tell you that. But but comic book movies and movies in general, we can get through this and live together and go off. I mean, money does a lot. You go off and live in Italy, and all of a sudden we're looking past everything. So, and I will say it's Italy, not France, like most people think for some reason. But I listen, I love Selina Kyle in the movie. I really do. I love Anne Hathaway. I think if the middle didn't involve so much other things going on and the whole Miranda Tate thing, if that stuff wasn't there and we got a true romance between the two of them throughout, it probably would be higher. But I also like the nature of Selina Kyle being the on again, off again, because I think that's the point of Selina and Bruce as a love interest. We talked about that when we talked about the comic version of Selina. I like that. Will they, won't they? She's always torn on which side she's on. I think that's the strongest point of her as a character. And I think it works really well. We don't see how the story ends, but we see how we want it to end by the end, and we hope that it continues. But I think it's really done well for the trilogy and to cap the trilogy with the two of them ending up together. So I think that's why I have it so high. It's just it's number 4. It's not like it's not my top 3, but I still really love that character.
Yeah. Well, my number 4 seems like I'm gonna be the first one to talk about this one, and that is Andrea Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm. Is my number 4. Andrea's great. We love her. She's fantastic, and I do appreciate looking at the list how there are quite a few characters on here, like Rachel Dawes, like Andrea, um, to a certain extent, Miranda Tate, Dr. Chase Meridian, that were invented for the movies,
Mhm.
and yet it says so much that especially Rachel and Andrea can be in the top 5 for having no comic book history and no pre-existing affection for those characters, but they are both written so well and so compellingly just in the movies in which they appear that fans have fallen in love with them. And I think Andrea is a huge example of that. Is it's a short movie. There's not a ton of content for Andrea Beaumont, but she is so memorable and so lovable, and they do such a good job of making her so smart and so interesting that you understand why Bruce wants to give it all up for her.
Mhm.
She's a great character, and then also like some of these other ones on the list, we find out she's more than what she appears. She is not just the every woman that we think she is at the beginning. There is more going on there. But I think that what I love about Andrea, um and again, she's at number 4, but I love her, and it just means there are 3 that I love a little bit more. What I love about Andrea is that she truly gave Bruce the biggest test of putting this crossroads in front of him and making him choose what he truly wanted to do. She was that temptation that could have pulled him away and changed everything, arguably for the better. But unfortunately, she had her own demons that she was wrestling with. But yeah, I think Andrea is a great character, and I give them so much credit for making her so memorable in this, whatever, 70-minute animated movie.
The point you made about no comics precedents for those characters, we have seen Andrea in comics since Mask of the Phantasm. Unless I'm missing something, I'm really surprised that Rachel has never been translated into the comics.
Yeah. I want to say there was something recently where Chase Meridian showed up.
I heard that, but I hadn't read it.
I can't
But yes,
remember what
she
it
has.
was. It was something. It was very recent, but yes, like we're like, whoa, you're actually bringing her into the comics. But yeah, I mean, I think it says so much where when you create a new character for the movie that then resonates so much that they end up in the comics, you've made it, right? So
Mhm.
I think it says a lot that yes, Andrea was invented for Mask of the Phantasm, but she has since shown up in Comic Sense. And like I said, something recently where Chase did. And yeah, it's shocking that Rachel hasn't.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not ready to talk about her yet, but I did want to just say this before I forget, because I'll probably forget when it comes to my turn. What you just said about how she basically does pull him away from becoming Batman. I think what helps too is it happens prior to him fully becoming Batman, correct? It
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So I think that helps us as we are the nerdy fans. Like, we don't want Batman to actually give up being Batman. But if it happens prior to him becoming Batman, we're okay with it. Like, I think we're more okay with that, or at least speaking for myself, that might have a lot to do with why I have so much love for the character.
Mhm.
And I think it works just really well for that film.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to number 3, Kathrynn.
Well, I should have just interrupted you. My number 3 is also Andrea Beaumont. So, I mean,
Oh,
yours
nice.
was 4, mine was 3. We're all kind of,
We're pretty
yeah,
close.
aligned here. No, there's a lot that you all said that I completely agree with, and I think that she is such a strong female character and presence, and she could be kind of like a shill and not really like like not very dynamic, but their relationship is dynamic and she's dynamic, and so you love her and you love them, and it creates the conflict as to what happens. But copy paste.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Eric, what about you? What's your number 3?
My number 3, and these top 3, for me from here on, it was really, really hard for me to rank these 3, because I dearly love all 3 of them. But my number 3 spot is Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, Catwoman. Um, Michelle Pfeiffer's performance at this point is legendary, iconic as Catwoman. She's the image you conjure in your head when you think Catwoman. I think the only reason that there's two more ahead of her is just because the characterization of Catwoman is just left of center, as Tim Burton tends to do. Like it's not your typical your version of Catwoman. But having said that, the way that Michelle Pfeiffer played it was fascinating. I mean, it's riveting to watch her play this character. And there is the kind of criminal will they won't they aspect, which is so prevalent and great with Batman and Catwoman, but there's also a lot of tragedy infused into this version, where she's the downtrodden secretary, and she's been held down and oppressed, and the whole Christopher Walken thing. But I don't know, it makes me smile every time I get to the end of that movie, even though you think she's dead and you see her stand up in the bat signal silhouette at the end as a callback to the first movie. And she just played the hell out of this role. So I absolutely love Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
All right. Joe, number 3.
Well, look at that. My number 3 is Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. And I gotta say, like, I did not appreciate this movie or this performance at all when I was a kid. This was probably my least favorite Batman movie growing up. And it's become, I think it being a Christmas movie has definitely helped because I watch it every year. It's the one Batman movie I have to watch every year because it's a Christmas movie now. And as an adult, I just appreciate the psychological turmoil that these two characters are going through and what brings them together and basically almost tears them apart as well once they figure out what's going on. And I love the complex nature of their relationship. I think there's so many layers to it. I just really, I love everything about it. And like what Eric said about it being a little left of center, I think that's what makes it work more for me in the context of the movie for the relationship, because I don't know if I'd have this opinion if she was actually the comic book version of Catwoman. I think what makes this film work is that Burton did do his own thing, and that's why the relationship is so strong to me. And Eric said everything already about the performance of Michelle Pfeiffer, and I think the chemistry between her and Michael Keaton is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had Vicky Vale a little lower on my list. I think this goes to show, I think, why maybe I have her so low is because I really love this performance and I buy this so much more. Yeah, I really was surprised when I made this list how high I had her, because I don't think I had a lot of trouble with especially these middle. I consider it middle, like these anything from 2 down. I had a lot of trouble with. I'll be honest, like 2 to 5 could interchange it any day, and this one really surprised me because I had no reason to not have it this high.
And yet you still
whoa. So again, debate again. I am so mad at myself for having this person at number 2, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But it's, again, if this was a debate, I would be kicking myself and I would have changed this list 10 times already. But I'm sticking with my insanity. I'm sticking with the insanity.
Stick to your guns. It's all good.
It's gonna make for a really, really fun conversation when I bring it up.
All right,
Andy, as you were saying, and yet it clicked in my head, and I'm like, oh shit.
And Kathryn is saying, "What the hell is going on?" And she's gonna really be like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?" If she isn't already, but that's okay.
All right. Well, that brings me to my number 3. It's my turn to talk about Rachel Dawes. I think that you all had very good points, and I don't really even disagree with any of those points. I do agree, and like I said in the past, I think that yes, one actor playing Rachel Dawes in both movies would have been better, and I'd have been fine with honestly either of them. But I think I have Rachel so high is because much like Andrea Beaumont, she was invented for the movie, and she's a great character. She's a great character unto herself. And what I love, and I think why she's so high, is because of how much her influence helps guide who Bruce becomes and how Bruce goes on this journey of becoming Batman. I love how Rachel in Begins, and maybe she has a bit of an advantage because she gets 2 movies as opposed to everyone else who gets 1. In Begins, she really is Bruce's conscience and really is the one who teaches him the difference between vengeance and justice, and seeing beyond his own world and understanding that there is a bigger picture at play than what he is trying to do and just trying to get back at Joe Chill and Falcone. She really gives him so much guidance and so much of a moral compass in Begins. And then, yeah, in The Dark Knight, there's this whole tragic element where she is this dream that he can never have and never achieve. And even she kind of wants to be that for him, but she knows that in the end it's impossible. So she gets to play a lot of different things. And I think she's a very multi-layered character. I think that there are 2 very good performances that bring her to life. And so, yeah, I just think that because of how important she is to Bruce's journey in those 2 films, and then even in Rises, even though she's not in Rises, her influence is still there. I just think that's why she's so high for me, is she's just a very important character to Bruce, and she didn't exist before David Goyer and Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan made her up.
To your point, Andy, with Rachel, I think one of the most heart-wrenching lines in a Batman movie is the letter that she wrote.
Yeah.
And I'm paraphrasing, but when she's talking about, there'll come a day where Gotham doesn't need Batman. But I don't think there will be a day where you don't need Batman, talking to Bruce. That's heart-wrenching. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
So yeah, that's why Rachel is my number 3. Brings us to number 2, Kathrynn.
Well, it sounds like she's been mentioned quite a lot, and maybe I missed it, but my number 2 is Vicky Vale. I think you guys were saying that Catwoman is kind of that left of center relationship, and this kind of feels like the textbook quintessential love interest, but not in a bad way. This is going to sound so negative, but I don't mean it that way. It's expected, it's kind of comfortable, but I think that's why it's romanticized. This is sort of like, if this sounds so weird, go with me here. It's like the fairy tale version of Batman romance to me. And I don't want to say it's like, I don't know, obvious or trite because it sounds so negative. I really mean this in the best way. I don't know where I'm going. Um, but I think she played the role perfectly, but not so perfectly that you wanted them to be the end game. God, that sounded so negative.
No,
I mean it in the nicest way.
I totally
right?
get it. I totally get it. Yep.
Well, she's one of the few that doesn't end with a tragic ending and starts the movie with Bruce. Like there's no turmoil between the 2 of them for the most part. And I hadn't really thought about that until you said it.
Yeah, it's like this is the fairy tale Batman romance, and it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful. I think that Batman and romance doesn't always coincide, and you're right. It ends in tragedy, or it ends in, the Joker. It ends horribly almost every single time, and this one just kind of like happened, and I think that that's great.
Well, it's like Batman can't be happy because he can't be Batman. So, but no, I mean, the word I used, and I think that this is where you're going, and so I do agree, is I had her lower than you did, but she is the most traditional of his love interests.
Yes, yeah.
But that's not a bad thing. It's just a much more of a traditional movie love interest of like, oh yeah, she's a photographer and she's investigating Batman and she ends up meeting Bruce Wayne, and it's much more of a Hollywood thing, even though she is from the comics. Yeah, but like I said, when I talked about her, Kim Basinger does a great job with the role, considering she was late to the party and she's not given a ton on the page. I think she's great.
Well, and the most important aspect here, Kathrynn, is that Alfred Pennyworth absolutely agrees with you.
Well, that means everything, doesn't it?
Alfred,
well, who's a better judge of character?
Yep.
Yeah. Alfred, why don't you marry her? Well, I love that Vicky Vale's your number 2. I think it's great.
Well, thanks. Come at me, bro.
Eric, what about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Andrea Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm. And I think when I place her here, I'm thinking like the best Batman villains are like a mirror image of Batman. They're the flip side of what he is. And for a love interest, this is very much the case here because she does end up being a villain, but also in everyday life, she is that parallel with Bruce. They're both haunted by their parents in different ways, but still haunted by their parents. And they're both driven to do what they do because of their parents. And it's another situation like Rachel where it's so tragic because of that aspect of what could have been. And I think even more so than Rachel, it's heartbreaking because they were that close. And I mean, even closer than Bruce and Rachel ever were in the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, Bruce proposed to her. And it was one more, just knife in his heart when it was one more tragedy and one more thing that he could not have. So yeah, I love the portrayal here, and yeah, it makes the reveal of, even though we all know it by now, and we know it by heart, it makes the reveal even harder to stomach that she's the villain of this story. So for all those reasons, yeah, Andrea ranks pretty high for me.
Excellent. Awesome. Joe, what's your number 2?
Well, you're praying it's that one because it's not Andrea Beaumont, I promise. So my number 2 is it's Dr. Chase Meridian. And let's
hear it.
Is it the hair? Is it the hair? It's the hair.
I could not.
Is it the scene where she's laying on the bed with the sheet draped over her? Perfect hair, perfect makeup. Is it that?
I don't think I can get past the fact that 10-year-old me was at the perfect age to be watching this movie. And I hate this movie. Like, I literally hate this movie now. But when I think of cinematic Batman love interest, I can't get past Nicole Kidman. And would you call it horny Batman? Like, you're horny. God. For whatever reason, and there's no defending the character as the character, but when you look at this movie, and like I said earlier, like when I was making the list, I guess because the movie does, for good or bad, center around her for the most part. I guess because I'm not as interested in the rest of the movie, I'm interested because it's Nicole Kidman. And again, like I have no defense of it whatsoever. And listening to everyone's critique of her, and I looked at nothing prior to this. I looked at no other listener, I looked at no other listener lists. When I was coming up with my list, for some reason, I just kept putting her higher up. And then listening to you guys talk about it, I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like, this is the worst thing I could have possibly done. She's a horrible character.
I love this so much.
But
oh my God, it's like I'm not gonna say it. No,
you can say it. I don't care.
Say it.
Listen, you should have rubbed one out before you made your list.
I can't defend what I was thinking when I did it, because when you look at the characters, it doesn't make any sense other than, like I said, it's the nostalgia of that movie hit me at the right time. And again, the movie itself, I have almost dismissed as being worse than Batman and Robin by this point. But I, for whatever reason, have always just had this, I'm choosing my words carefully here, the soft spot for Chase Meridian. Yeah.
And I think you have a hard on for it.
Yeah, it's
a soft spot that becomes a hard spot.
But I just
That
love
is-
Nicole Kidman in that role, and I think it's because I
we
couldn't.
know why. We know why.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
can't
got
even
it.
defend
We
it.
got it.
Can't
It's okay.
defend it whatsoever, and I wanted to cross it out and change this as we were doing the list, but I stuck to it, and I don't care. Whatever. It's hard to make
Also,
this list.
you guys mentioned she showed up recently. I had to look it up because it was bugging me. She apparently showed up in Gotham Knights.
That's what it
Interesting.
was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't think I didn't get that far, but I remember hearing about it after the fact, which is why it was very fuzzy. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gotham Knights,
You're
the
welcome.
CW show.
The show we've
Yeah.
all forgotten
Oh,
about
okay.
already.
The show that came and is it gone? Did it
It's
went?
gone.
It
Oh, it's
went.
gone. Yeah.
It's on Max now. And Andy, did you give up after the pilot, or did you try a little
No,
longer?
pilot only. Yep, that
Because
was it.
I've heard it's, and again, I don't know. It's one of those things where is it cool to say this show was not as bad as it was, supposed to be or thought to be? But I have heard like it's not that bad, but it's just a terrible Batman show.
Oh,
Yeah,
there were
Which,
people. There were
again-
people rallying to have Superman and Lois canceled, and that remained.
Yes, I
What?
saw that too.
That's
so like,
stupid. Those
I
people
didn't
are
even watch the
stupid.
pilot after your episode. Like, you did not do anything to sway me on watching the pilot.
Yeah, and that's just like I'm not gonna keep watching it if I didn't like the pilot. Like I got too many things that I want to watch anyway. So,
Yeah.
But thank you, Kathryn, for bringing that up to distract
Yeah.
everyone from my number 2 pick. So.
No, you're
Yeah.
you're good. I'm here to fact check.
all right, number 2 there, Joe. Okay, number 2. So that brings me to my number 2. My number 2 is Selena Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises. I love me some Anne Hathaway. And I think her portrayal of Selena Kyle, Catwoman, is amazing. I think she's so damn good in this movie. I think it is almost a pitch perfect portrayal of the character. And what I really love is, and we joked about it before, is Miranda Tate was there for Bruce when Selena turned him over to Bane and then skipped out of town. So you would think it should be the other way around. But what I love is that if you watch that movie, Bruce influences Selena.
Mhm.
Bruce makes Selena a better person in his responsibility and his loyalty and him wanting to help others. And she is so used to only looking out for herself, as Catwoman should, that unfortunately he became a good influence on her, which I think drove her nuts. And you can see the frustration in her face when she turns around to help him. I love it. She gives an amazing performance. They do have chemistry. She's great when she is at odds with Batman, and then by the end when she's fighting side by side for him. That is the progression you want. And like you said, Joe, in my perfect world, comic book world where nobody ever ages and we have to live it, we have to live in Act 2 because things can't begin and things can't end. For me, Batman and Catwoman are always together and apart and together and apart. Like, it can never be happily ever after. But for The Dark Knight Rises, where the decision was made, we've got to have an ending. I love the happy ending of Bruce ending up with this Selena, especially because of how much they did find out through this journey, through the experience, how alike they are and how much they do fit together. And by the end, when they do end up together after everything they went through, you go, you know what? It makes sense. And I'm actually really happy for both of them. So I love it because I love the portrayal of the character in that movie. But I also think that for a final girl for Bruce, it works really well too. So Selena Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises is my number 2.
Respect.
Yeah, I love that pick.
And that brings us to our number 1s. Kathryn, who's your number 1 Batman cinematic love interest?
My number 1 is Selena Kyle / Catwoman / Michelle Pfeiffer / icon / the moment forever always. And there's kind of like 3 reasons. I think I can't get over, personally, this is my favorite cinematic Batman movie. I think that this has come to mean a lot to you and I, even though we forgot to watch it this year. But I think you've mentioned before, this was like one of the first movies we saw together and one of our first dates. But this was also like, I would say, my introduction into the world of Batman. And so I will never just get over her and him and their relationship. And so personally, whoops, it's too bad. And number two, you guys have been saying it, but the portrayal, like she is, spectacular in every way. And yeah, she was a bit of a departure from the character, but she's so iconic. I feel she's become her own blueprint for this character. Like people do associate this with Catwoman, like people outside of, the Batman nerd sphere, right? You say Catwoman, this is who most people think of, right? I don't think anybody has matched that since. There's been good portrayals, but not as good as hers. And the third reason is their chemistry. Their chemistry is just off the fucking charts, and I want to see them smash, and that's why I picked her as number one.
All right.
So happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I want to see them smash.
The top half of this ranking has become really hot and bothered.
This is the horny Batman show. Sorry. Yeah. You ain't going to get nothing that over on The Fire Rises. You want horny? You come to Holy BatCast.
Yeah.
I saved it all for you, Andy.
Yeah, thank you. And Chase, as it turns out. Oh, wow. Good. I like it. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
All right. I bet you there is fan art if you really want to see them smash.
I mean, I'm not going to Google it on my work computer, but
I am because F it. It's Valentine's Day.
Fan art nowadays, there's probably like AI, CGI, all sorts of crap. There's a lot of stuff out there.
I wouldn't know. I have no idea what you're talking, but you're right. That's probably true. Probably.
Allegedly.
If what I hear some of those little AI rascals are doing out there, if that's true, yes, I bet you're right.
Wait till you open Brendan's Valentine's Day card.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I bet I can find it. Never mind. Check your phone in like 30 minutes, babe.
Oh, great. I can't wait. Happy early Valentine's. It's 2 days away. All right. Well, Eric.
I don't know how I follow all that.
Your number one pick.
Keep in mind, me and Eric are still here before they send the video.
Let's make everyone really uncomfortable.
Well, like I said, I don't know how I followed that, but my number one is Anne Hathaway's Selina Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises. I've been a defender of The Dark Knight Rises for a long time, for the simple reason where I love that I have a trilogy of films where I can watch a complete Batman story, because in continuity I never want to see Batman end. But in a single contained story like this, I love that I have a beginning, middle, and end. And Selina Kyle is the biggest part of bringing it to a great ending, because as you said, Andy, she kills this role, and I adore Anne Hathaway anyway. But yeah, and the biggest thing to me, and this goes back to part one, I just have a feeling that this Selina Kyle, if Bruce called her cat, would probably slug him in the face. So she gets points automatically. Shout out to Tom King.
One of the best lines, "You stupid bitch." Well, no one's ever called me stupid before.
Exactly. And the balls on this woman to steal Bruce's mom's pearls. I mean, and there's that perfect dynamic of her as a criminal, but there's that glimmer of hope at the end, because she leaves. I mean, she leaves the city after Batman has asked her for help. And then she redeems herself at the end, and she does come back and help. And then to see them at the end happy, moved on with their lives, even though we don't want to, in a normal situation, we don't want to see Batman end. I don't think you can ask for a happier ending for Bruce Wayne than that. And a huge kudos to Anne Hathaway, because she's phenomenal.
Absolutely. Not mad at that. All right. Joe, you're number one.
My number one is Andrea Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm. I I gush about this movie way too much. I joke that every time I watch it, my wife comes in the room and says, "Oh, it's that cartoon Batman movie you watch every 6 months or so. Like, why are you watching this so much? Why do you watch this again?" But I just love this movie, and I think what baffles me about why I love this movie so much is this is a love story. Like, she is the focal point of the movie to me. Um it's not a side story, in my opinion, when you watch this movie. It's the main point of this whole 75-minute movie. And I am never annoyed by her or bored when you're seeing the two of them on screen together, or seeing the turmoil that she's going through towards the end of the movie. And I think, like we talk about how the end of The Dark Knight Rises is such a happy ending for Bruce that we want to see, like Eric just said, in a single film, or in a, single beginning, middle, end trilogy. In this case, it works in an ongoing story to have it end so tragically, and it's heartbreaking. It's devastating how this story ends in this movie, because you want these two people to somehow end up together, and they just can't. And I just love everything about their relationship in this movie. um and it's weird for me because normally I'm not into the whole love story angle of any of these movies. That's my least favorite part of most of these movies. So when I watch this one, knowing that it's the focal point, and I still am so into it, and I love this movie more than, for the most part, any other Batman movie. I mean, it's definitely my number one animated Batman movie, probably my number one Batman movie in general. Um, and it's because of what they did with this character in just a 75-minute movie.
All right. Excellent choice. That's great. So far, the three of you, three different number ones. I think that's
awesome.
great, though.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I'm going to break the streak because
Oh,
I
no.
got to agree with my lovely wife.
I had a feeling.
Yay.
Yeah.
You're redeemed.
Oh, thank God. My number one is Selena Kyle from Batman Returns. I mean, you guys
I
already
love
said
you.
a lot of very good, true things. Michelle Pfeiffer owned this role, continues to own this role. I think you all said some variation of that is when you say Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer's version has become synonymous with Catwoman, even though we have had multiple cinematic Catwomen sets. She's still the gold standard, and for all the right reasons. Her performance as Selena Kyle pre-makeover is terrific. Her portrayal of Selena Kyle after her near-death experience is amazing, and then her Catwoman is iconic. She is so good in the film. I understand the point you guys are making about the portrayal being, as you called it, slightly left of center, but the spirit of the character is all still there.
Mm-hmm.
She is still a Catwoman who is only out for herself. She's only on one person's side, her own. If that means manipulating the men around her to get what she wants, she has no problem doing that, whether that be Batman, Bruce Wayne, Max Schreck, or the Penguin, or all of the above. She will do what she needs to do to get what she wants. And then Batman or Bruce manages to get just under the surface. No one has more chemistry on this list than Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer. No one. It is amazing. The scene where they are dancing at the ball, at the masquerade ball, is electric. And they are only dancing and talking. And it's hot as hell. They are so good together, the two of them bouncing off each other. And she is a perfect romantic interest for Batman because at the end of the movie, he even says it, we're the same. We're split right down the center. And the best thing about Batman and Catwoman is the fact that they are 90% the same, but the 10% is what keeps them apart. And that's what happens here. It happens, it happens in the Batman as well, right? That difference makes all the difference. And here they're so close to that happy ending. And I love that in The Dark Knight Rises, they get their happy ending. But I like the bittersweet version even more of like, we're so close and we can't just make it work. And I think that is the most true version of the Batman Catwoman dynamic from the comics that we love, unless we're talking about the Tom King version. Of the, they can never truly be happily ever after because there's just that bit of a difference. And the tragedy of them not ending up together in Batman Returns and that very sad, very downbeat ending, it gets me every time. It gets me every Christmas of Bruce Wayne alone on Christmas looking for her. And I love it. It's beautiful. Yeah, I think that she is an amazing version of Selena Kyle. She's an amazing version of Catwoman. There's so much that she has to say about feminism and the way we treat women, and she was tired of being underestimated as a woman, and this near-death experiences, she's like, I'm tired of it, I'm done. And she snaps. Oh my god, the freak out scene in her apartment, call it the transformation scene, whatever you want to call it, but her freak out in that apartment, oh my god, Michelle Pfeiffer commits. So
It's
yeah,
amazing.
Selena Kyle in Batman Returns, just truly one of the great performances. And still mad over 30 years later that she was not nominated for an Oscar, but what are you going to do? But yeah, history has been very kind to this performance, and yeah, she will be immortal because of Catwoman and Batman Returns.
And I think that ballroom scene is probably the best scene in the movie.
Oh, it's so good. It's so great. When she starts crying and then laughing, oh, just she's so good. She's amazing. So
I like it.
I approve, babe.
Thanks. That's my number one. So our number one choices for Batman cinematic love interests are 2 for Selena Kyle from Batman Returns, 1 for Selena Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises, and 1 for Andrea Beaumont from Mask of the Phantasm. I'm very happy with those 3 choices.
Solid.
Yeah.
So solid.
Great selections, guys. We did it. High fives all
great
around.
Variety in the top 5.
Yeah. So, do you want to hear what the listeners thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because much like Joe, I did not look at any listener rankings, so I'm very curious how this shakes out.
Yeah. It was very fun. We did not get nearly the response we did with the DCEU rankings. Shocker. But that's okay. I appreciate everybody who did share their rankings. We appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, and the more rankings we get, the better data we get. So I appreciate everybody who did participate. If you haven't followed the Facebook page, please do, because then you can, chime in on stuff like this. But what's funny is the bottom 2, very consistent. The top 2, very consistent. And then the middle, lots of variety. But here's how it all shook out. And not to give anything away, I think it ended up in a pretty good place. So number 10, Dead Ass Last, as we decided last time. Dead Ass Last. Number 10, Julie Madison, Batman and Robin.
Shocked.
Shocking, right? For a minute, it looked like she was going to get a perfect score of everyone had her last. And then enough people, just a handful of people, started not putting her last that I was like, oh, okay, never mind. But for a second I thought, oh my God, is she gonna sweep it? But she did not.
That would have been the most impact she's had.
I know, exactly. So anyway, that's number 10, Julie Madison. Number 9, Miranda Tate from The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, now see, that does surprise me a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah, I feel like they did it for the same reasons that I did, where it's not that we don't like the performance or not like her as a character, it's just as the love interest, it's like the one that you can kind of dismiss.
Yeah.
She's forgettable.
I think that's it. I think that people remember her as Talia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so they immediately discount it.
Yep.
All right. Number 8, Dr. Chase Meridian, Joe.
Joe hangs up.
Yep.
It's a little controversial.
Yeah. Not all the fans were thinking with, 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just shy of puberty, and then Dr. Chase Meridian shows up and changes everything.
Good times. Those were the good old days.
Yep.
Or we didn't have kids fighting to go to sleep and all that stuff. So
Yeah, there's a Manscaped joke in here somewhere, I'm sure.
Before Dr. Chase Meridian, Joe didn't need Manscaped. But then June 21st, 1995, he needed to order a trimmer.
I'm trying to put Harley through college with the Manscaped orders.
That's great. I love it. All right. Number 7 is Catwoman from Batman the movie. Okay. Which, I get it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I get it. That's fair. Number 6, Selena Kyle from The Batman.
Me and the listeners are like in cahoots.
You guys are pretty consistent. You know what? I didn't actually do any math. I'm just reading your list.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah. It's just easier.
If I put Chase in the right spot, this is pretty similar to my list.
There you go.
Number 5, Vicky Vale from Batman.
Party.
Right in the middle. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm glad she made the top half. Number 4, Rachel Dawes.
Yeah.
Number 3, Selena Kyle from The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
And then I'll tell you, number 1 and 2 battled it out pretty consistently the whole time. So number 2, Andrea Beaumont, Mask of the Phantasm. And that means number 1, the fans agree with me and Kathrynn, Selena Kyle, Batman Returns.
Woo!
I'm not even mad about it, though.
My list was so close.
All 3 of our number 1s were in the top 3 for the listeners, though.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
That makes sense. I think I told Andy when I was making this list, I was like immediately had my number 1 and then my number 2. And then after that, I was like, it's kind of splitting hairs.
I did too. Number 1 was easy. Number 10 was easy. Everything in between was less easy.
Yeah.
Because they're all so close. Because for the most part, I like most of them,
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, there you go. I feel like, again, once you average out all the fan stuff, that list is a really good list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the variety, like I said, that we had on our lists, because again, there's something here for everyone, and there's a performance that everybody can latch onto. So yeah, I think this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is your Valentine's Day treat activity. We've ranked the Batman cinematic love interest. Just when you think we've ranked everything, we find something new to rank. And it's fun. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody there. Pop in your favorite Batman movie, because we have determined on these 2 episodes that most of these Batman movies are love stories. So they count for Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Yep. So Batman Returns, even though it's a Christmas movie, could also be a Valentine's movie.
Well,
most of these
that makes me watch it.
Just when you thought we couldn't make a Batman association.
See, we always can. Awesome. Well, very fun. Thanks to everybody again who voted, and thanks for you guys for sharing your lists. But I do want to check in with you folks. Before that, though, I got to give a shout out to our other friends over at Magic Mind. MagicMind.com, the all-natural energy shot that I've become a big fan of. Really helps me out in the morning. So it's really small. It goes down easy. It tastes good. It's just sweet enough. And it's made of all natural ingredients, so there's no guilt. Magic Mind, you can pick it up at its Sprouts. You can go to magicmind.com. But if you're going to, go to magicmind.com/BatCast. We would love that, because that way you are also supporting us, just like with our other sponsors. But if you're going to make a purchase, use the promo code BatCast20. So again, go to magicmind.com/BatCast and use the code BatCast20 to get a discount. The more you order, the more discount you get. And so if you're looking for that little extra shot of energy, whether it be in the morning, if you need help getting started in the morning, or maybe you need it in the afternoon, that little lag time for me, like 3 p.m. between lunch and going home, you need that little extra thing instead of getting another coffee or taking something else, Magic Mind, you don't have to feel bad about it. So check it out. Go to magicmind.com/batcast. And again, thank you to everybody who's already done that. We appreciate it. I was never into energy shots, but I really do enjoy Magic Mind. I think it's really good. So check it out if that's something that you think will help you out. I think you'll like it. So magicmind.com/batcast. And we would appreciate it. So thank you to Magic Mind and thank you to everybody who has given them a chance. But now I want to check in with you, fine feathered finks, and crack open the Wayne Manor mailbox. It's time again for the Wayne Manor mailbox.
You've got mail.
Darren, what is a letter for me?
Maybe temporary.
She wrote a letter.
You're one hell of a messenger. This is all, Master Wayne.
First email here is from Jacob. It says, "Hey, Bat Fam, I know you've done several Fancast episodes, but I was wondering if you would be doing any for the new DCU slate. I know it takes prep time, so I won't ask you to come up with stuff on the spot. I was just scrolling through social media and I saw a Fancast for Brave and the Bold, and the one that stuck out to me was Matthew Lillard as the Riddler. I'm sure it isn't the first time he's been Fancast, but I think he would have so much fun with it. I'm sure you've seen the Alan Ritchson Fancast as Batman. I think he'd be great. He's got the physique of a big bruiser Batman, and after watching Reacher, I think he would knock it out of the park. Sorry for the long email. Hope all is well. Much love, Jacob." Thanks, Jacob. Good to hear from you. So I honestly don't know if we're gonna do a Fancast episode because, like you said, it takes prep and a lot of thinking. So maybe if we're feeling ambitious, but no one likes fan casting more than Joe Fornerato. And so if we do it, we have to have Joe on. But Joe, what are your thoughts on this fan casting?
On Matthew Lillard as the Riddler?
Matthew Lillard and Alan Ritchson.
I'm fine with either one. I actually had not heard Matthew Lillard as the Riddler, and I think that could be really fun. Alan Ritchson, I'm just happy he actually admitted that it's a fan cast, not Alan Ritchson is up for Batman. Because, oh my, that drives me more nuts than actual fan cast. Is said actor says he will play this character after being asked if he wants to play this character. It's like, well, yeah, of course he does.
Do you know who would want to play Batman?
Anyone?
Every actor in Hollywood,
especially the ones that aren't the A-list actors. Like, and I love Alan Ritchson, but he's not an A-list actor. I don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Honey, I know that you also love Matthew Lillard. What do you think of that? Riddler?
I like Alan Ritchson was in. We watched him. He was on a show. Why can't I?
Titans.
He's on Titans. Yeah.
Titans. Yeah.
Titans, yeah. I love Matthew Lillard. I think that's awesome. I think it's kind of inspired. It'd be cool. That'd be cool. I just want to see him in something else, you know?
Yeah.
Like another big major role in a, yeah.
Hey, he was in Five Nights at Freddy's. He's doing great.
Girl. Don't test me.
Do you know what's funny is the last time we did a fan cast, I fan cast Matthew Lillard as Firefly.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Just because Matthew Lillard was just starting to get like that resurgence that now he's been enjoying. And with Firefly, I was like, well, it doesn't really matter who you cast because Firefly, it doesn't have like some iconic personality. And I was like, Matthew Lillard could do something really fun and unique. And I was like, yeah, why not? And I remember Brendan and Jamie being like, oh, weird, but sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's wow. No, I think he has a spot. I'm just curious what it is. He kind of gives off the sort of James Gunniverse vibe, with with Rooker and Sean Gunn and those kind of oddball but like awesome actors. It'd be awesome to see him in something.
Yeah, for sure. Eric, anything to add?
My only hesitation with Matthew Lillard is I wonder if I would see an older Stu from Scream, like in his performance. I'm sure he's well-rounded enough where you wouldn't, but that's the first thing that came to mind. I think also, I think he's in his mid-50s, so I think it would really depend on how old the Batman was in the movie.
Yeah.
But I do think he'd be great.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next message from Dave Smitty. It says, "Hey, I wanted to say thank you for the amazing and sometimes nerve-wracking DCEU. It was a hell of a ride. My thanks to everyone who participated in making of the universe. There's a song on the soundtrack that we all know called A Beautiful Lie, and I like to call the DCEU of the last 10 years a beautiful truth, because it was just that. No matter what, the DCEU always stayed true to itself. When you can, please mention the end of our first silver screen Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot and Margot Robbie changed the landscape of female characters in a male-dominated world of geekdom, and they've left huge shoes to fill. For me in
Yes, bitch.
particular, the impact Margot Robbie's performance brought to the universe was delightfully punk rock and charming at the same time. She gave life to the iconic character, and for me, that Harley was a bright spot on the sometimes dark horizon of the DCEU. All the best, Dave." Thanks, Dave. And Dave also shared his DCEU rankings here, but we did that last time. So thank you for sharing, Dave. And yeah, it was quite a ride, without a doubt, and absolutely. I mean, I kind of mentioned it when we talked about the rankings, the fact that we waited so damn long for a Wonder Woman movie. So long. And somehow the movie was amazing, and Gal Gadot was amazing as Wonder Woman when everyone doubted her, because she was just the gal from Fast and Furious, and she really redefined who Wonder Woman was for a whole new generation. And same with Margot Robbie. We waited for a long time for a live action Harley Quinn, unless you count the Birds of the Prey TV show. And yeah, Gal and Margot really gave so much life and heart to those characters. So agreed. Honey, Kathryn, you seem to
Yeah.
agree.
I mean, yes, bitch, snaps, clacks. Let's go for this. I said to you, oh, how naive I was in this moment. But I think I was pregnant, and we were in LA, and we were talking about the current state of the DCU at the time. So it was like Batwoman was on the horizon, RIP. You know, we had Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and like all these incredible female characters in female-led movies. And we were about to have a girl, and I just said how excited I was that our daughter would be growing up in a time where there could be female-led superhero films, and where she would have the opportunity to connect with you, but with both of us really, in that, in that way, and with that fandom. And I'm so grateful for that, and I'm so glad those movies exist. And yeah, it's means the world to me. I love them.
I forgot. I have a video. I forgot
Yeah.
all about it until I was putting together Harley's birthday video. I have
Yeah.
a video of watching Wonder Woman, and it was sometime within the last year, and she was
Yeah.
watching the No Man's Land scene and like just watching and clapping, and it was the cutest thing in the world. So we're getting her started already.
Oh my God. It like makes me emotional because it's just like I didn't have that. I had Batman the Animated Series. That was like it.
Yeah.
So like it's just awesome to see it, so much female superhero content. It's great.
Yeah.
More.
More. Eric, anything to add?
I know. I think you guys covered it well. I mean, I just mirror what you said. The having Gal and Margot, I mean, for whatever else you can say about the DCEU, I mean, that is two huge feathers in the cap.
Yeah.
Because they were phenomenal.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, I forget that Gal was, everyone was kind of like dogging that casting in the beginning. She's so surpassed that I completely forget about it. And to echo what Kathryn was saying about, having the female superheroes, and I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I'll never forget. I mean, obviously not as much of a connection as Harley Quinn having a 6-year-old daughter, but watching Wonder Woman in the theater when my wife is pregnant with what we knew was going to be my daughter at the time, I will never forget that experience, because it changes how you think of things, knowing that you're going to be a father and knowing that it's going to be a little girl. And to be able to sit there with my wife and watch Wonder Woman and seeing this little girl, like, mimicking the movements of all the, her heroes in, at the Mascara, like that. I'll never forget seeing that come on the screen and realizing, holy crap, I'm going to have a daughter in a few months.
Mhm.
And it's amazing. And
Yeah.
Andy, you sent us that video of Harley. I remember when she was, mimicking No Man's Land and getting all excited and stuff. Like, there's nothing like it. And that's why I have such a soft spot for Wonder Woman 1984, because my daughter loves that movie. And we have that on all the time because it's one of the rare ones that she can watch, and she loves seeing Wonder Woman on the screen and doing all that. So yeah, it's really important. It's become a cliche that, the representation does matter, but having a girl, it sometimes you look past that stuff until it affects you. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way, but it has definitely meant a lot to me going forward, having those characters.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Like, I always believed representation mattered. Always. Like, I'm always supportive of that. But you're right. It takes on a whole new depth when you start looking at it through the eyes of your kids.
Yeah.
All right. Next message here is from Carrie Vanderberg. It says, "Hey, Andy and crew, I feel weird writing and asking this question, but your State of Superhero Cinema episode left me depressed. Most of the superhero movies from the past year that I enjoyed didn't do well, or they were poorly reviewed, like Quantumania, The Flash, The Marvels, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Now that the DCEU is ending on a whimper, I'm being serious when I ask the question, what's wrong with me? I feel like I've reached the end of my ability to justify why I love the DCEU movies, mainly Zack and Juan's films. I try to live by the love what you love mentality, but I feel like I need more than that right now. I feel like my emotional investment in the DCEU over the past 10 years has been a waste of time and energy. I feel like I'm supposed to toss my Blu-rays, t-shirts, and collectibles in the garbage, delete all the digital copies from my library, and throw my hands up admitting I was wrong and stupid for loving these movies. I wish my ability to enjoy these movies and characters could go back to the days of the Nolan Batman trilogy and the MCU's Infinity Saga, when everyone liked or loved those movies and there was no stigma. If a movie is bad or a failure, why even try to enjoy it for myself? My excitement for DC on film is at an all-time low. I feel beaten down by all the negativity. Losing Cavill's Superman has made it more depressing than joyful to go back and watch Man of Steel, BVS, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, because the story is unfinished, and I feel like I've been stabbed in the back by the studio. Sorry to be a wet blanket, but it's where I'm at with my love of superhero cinema, struggling to rationalize why I should enjoy it anymore. If you have any perspective, I would love to hear it. Carrie." Thanks, Carrie. And okay. First of all, I get it. Especially being a DC fan. I joke about it a lot when I'm like, hey man, I've been doing this 10 years. I'm used to it. I'm used to getting the crap kicked out of me for liking a movie that everyone else likes to make fun of, BVS. I get it. Especially for those of us who've been very happy with the DCEU, and now that it's over, man, it's been a long 10 years of defending the movies that we really love, and it's exhausting, and God, sometimes you're just tired of doing it. But what I will say to you, Carrie, is you should love what you love, which I know is easier said than done, but you should. And I think what you need is not a break from superhero movies. I think you need a break from social media, my friend. Love what you love. Enjoy the movies you enjoy. And don't worry about other people who want to talk shit about them or make fun of them or whatever, or want to debate about them online. Take a break from all that stuff. Take a break from it. God, my whole life there have been movies that I've loved that, didn't do well or whatever. And it's just part of it. But it's so much worse now because of social media, because you just see the discourse. Even if you're not engaged in it, you see it. And it's exhausting and it's disheartening and it's annoying. I mean, The Flash. You heard me talk about The Flash. I love The Flash. It was one of my favorite movies of the year. And man, the summer sucked watching everyone stand in line, taking turns to kick the shit out of it. That sucked. But at the end of the day, you know what? That's fine. Make fun of The Flash. I don't care. Because when I watch it, I still like the movie. And that's what you got to do. Just drown out the negativity. Take a break. Unplug. Your time is better spent watching the stuff you love than reading what people you don't know say about the stuff you love. So that's my advice to you.
Amen.
Mhm. Andy,
You said it, honey.
Yeah, I said to you guys in our group chat the other day, virtually the only reason I go on X nowadays is when I'm posting podcast stuff.
Same.
Otherwise,
Yep.
otherwise, I pretty much stay off of it. And it's a lesson I learned from Jamie Drewley, because he at the drop of a hat, he will drop all social media, and he is happier for it. And yeah, I would just say, and don't take this the wrong way, Andy, but I'm going to use you guys as an example, because you guys,
if you tell people that they need to stop listening to Holy BatCast and start listening to The Fire Rises,
TM, no, like when I got to you guys as the Batman review, because everybody knows I adore that movie, you guys didn't like it on the same level that I did. But if I had listened to that and just got down in the dumps and said, God, I respect these guys so much, they didn't like it, what's wrong with me? That's not the mindset you should have. The mindset I had was, I wish they enjoyed it as much as I did. And then I move on. And it's okay.
Well, we live in a time where we can look back and have fond memories of Batman and Robin at this point. Why can't we look back at the DCEU with fond memories? They're a lot better in quality than that was, and they're a lot better well received than that was. So I don't really see the difference. And listen, I don't want to turn this into a whole thing on why you can like what you like and not, care about what other people think. But also, like, to Carrie's point about not even being able to enjoy Zack Snyder's trilogy with Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League because it didn't go anywhere. What franchises really go anywhere? Most of the time they fail and they stop making movies. Yes, we had the MCU, which is the exception, not the rule. I'm sorry. That's not normal. And it's still going. And there really hasn't been a conclusion yet. We don't know if there's going to be a true conclusion. Yes, Endgame ended that first, 3 phases or whatever it was, and kind of gave an ending to Captain America and Iron Man. But who's to say we're really going to get a true conclusion? And the Dark Knight trilogy is the exception, not the rule. So don't judge these things that you love based on exceptions out there right now that people are telling you are the best and are perfect. It's okay to just be okay with what we got. And to me, they're complete enough. We've gotten for a what do we always joke about? For a failed universe, we got how many movies? 16?
16.
That's a pretty damn good failed universe considering
most successful franchises don't get 16 movies.
I was waiting for a Green Lantern sequel. I mean, that's how desperate I was to get, some movies that I loved more, to continue. I think we're pretty well off. And listen, I'm disappointed in where it went too, but I'm not gonna dwell on it. I still like what we got.
Listen, y'all, I love the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. not in a guilty pleasure way. I think that movie's great. I don't know why people hate it. I don't get it. I watched it many times. I don't get why people hate it. Didn't do well. Didn't get a sequel. People love to make fun of it. It became a punchline. I love that movie. I love it. And nobody can take that movie. Nobody can make me delete it. I bought that movie multiple times on every format because I love that movie. You know what? I've made my peace with it. I like Ang Lee's Hulk. Sorry about it. So, you know what? You got to just make peace with it, right? Love what you love again, and just take a break. All right. Next email here is from Josh Green. It says, "Hey guys, today marks the 1-year anniversary of James Gunn and Peter Safran announcing their slate for DCU's first chapter. Since then, we've had a lot of casting announcements and creatives attached to some of the projects. Today, James Gunn said on Threads that there are a few more projects expected to go into production this year. My question is, how excited are you guys for the DCU, and what other projects besides Superman Legacy do you think could be going into production this year? I hope you have a great new year, Josh." All right, Josh, thank you for the email. Great question. Joe, gonna let you go first. Well, What's your excitement for the new DCU, and what do you think could be going into production this year other than Superman Legacy?
I have no idea about production. I'll be honest. Like I wouldn't even know where
And
to
who would you cast in every one of the movies? Go.
The production thing, I really wouldn't even know where to go with that. I mean, other than, I mean, it's been so long since he even announced the slate. I'm having a hard time even remembering everything. I would love to see like the Green Lantern show go into production. I would assume maybe some of the series will go into production prior to some of the movies, because I feel like if it was a movie, we might have heard about it already, but I could be dead wrong. I have no idea. But as far as excitement level, I think this gap between the end of the DCU, I think also, like people like to say the death of the DCEU this year with the lack of interest and all that. I was bummed about all that, but I think it's helped us kind of accept the death
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
move on from it. And I am excited as much as I loved, I mean, the Snyderverse, whatever you want to call it, and specifically the Snyder movies. Listen, I wanted that to continue. I would have loved to have gotten a Justice League 2 and a 3 and the original plan, even back when we had, I think the plan was ending in 2020. And
Oh my God.
like, think about that. Like, the original plan was going to end in 2020 and we're in 2024 and, this is where we are. But
Yeah.
again, I'm excited for what's to come because I don't even, would you consider this worst case scenario or best case scenario? These films are better than the Snyder films. Is that a bad thing? No. Why would, I think Jamie said it on the last episode. You both said it. Why would you root against any film of a character that you love? So
Mhm.
worst case scenario, I end up looking at the Snyder films like they're the lesser of what I have on the shelf. Awesome, because I love those movies. So I'm always excited for new movies.
All right. Kathryn, thoughts?
I'm assuming one of the things is Peacemaker season 2.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I think he confirmed it too.
That makes sense.
I
Mhm.
always
So,
forget
like-
about that one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It's written.
Speculation.
It's finished writing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, oof, I have thoughts and I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what could be. I'm just excited for more content. I just like, let's see where this goes. I don't feel a sense of loss that the DCEU is over. I think I've made my peace with the fact that Jason Momoa's Aquaman and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn are probably done, but I think for me those were the two
Mhm.
hardest to swallow. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Like this is going to be kind of to what I said earlier. This is going to be what Harley sees. I mean, we'll more than likely take her to the theater for something that's in the slate.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a really cool
So-
thought. That's
Yeah.
a really
like,
cool
yeah,
thought.
I think
I
that's
didn't think of that.
exciting. Like I said earlier, like Batman Returns was my introduction to Batman. So Batman the Babe and the Bold might be hers. So
Mhm.
that's kind of cool. Like it, regardless of what everybody else thinks. To the point about the earlier email, like she might love stuff in this because it's her introduction to something that her parents really love, and I think that's exciting. So great,
Yeah. I love it.
yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm really excited for this new opportunity to get more DC films. Super excited for, pun intended, for Superman Legacy. And I think outside of getting the movies themselves, there's that fun rush of the nerdy aspect of it where we get to anticipate, seeing first looks at new suits and, cars and all gadgets and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm thrilled. But so far as production, I mean, we know we have Creature Commandos coming first. And then Superman Legacy. I agree with Kathryn. I think Peacemaker will be up next. And then I think they'll go ahead and try to set the other cornerstone and get Batman the Brave and the Bold into production. Especially because if they're keeping him, we have Andy Muschietti as the director. So we've already got that set. So I think that'll be the next up.
Nice. I'll just echo everything that you guys said. I'm so excited about a new universe. I loved the last one. I did. I rode with it till the bitter end. But yeah, it's a great point that, because the final films did so poorly, it makes that break a little bit easier to take and to accept. And I'm excited for a brand new tomorrow. So I'm all into that. As for, in addition to anything else going into production, the only other one that I think could be possible is Supergirl, because now we have a Supergirl. They've cast the role. And I believe they cast the role because we will meet her in Superman Legacy, but we've already got, the most important step out of the way is they found their Supergirl. So I could see that going into production sooner than later.
Makes sense.
All right. Next email here is from Tom Fallows. It says, "Hey, it's been a long time. I hope you're doing well. I really enjoyed your look back at the DCEU. I think that what we can agree on, I think what can be agreed on is a lot was filled with wasted opportunity. One thing I was excited for from Justice League was the forming of the Legion of Doom. This, however, didn't come to fruition, and then the Flash's development hell meant that DC missed out on being the first to the multiverse. My question is this: what missed opportunities of the DCEU would you have liked to have seen come to fruition? And is there any aspect of the DC universe you want to see in the Gunn universe? If you already answered this, feel free to skip. I'll be patient. Thanks for the great podcast, Tom." Thanks, Tom. No, I mean, we've definitely all agreed that there are certainly wasted potential in what was the DCEU. I think that you bring up the biggest one that I know Jamie would agree with, and I also agree with, ironically, it was only in the theatrical version of Justice League, but Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Man, they could have been the first to that party. Legion of Doom. That's one thing Marvel has not done. And I know we shouldn't only be reactive to Marvel, but they haven't done it.
Yeah.
And DC could have, and it still bugs the hell out of me. So that's a big one. But what about other missed opportunities, Kathryn?
Honestly, I think you said the one I probably would have said, of like that, or expanding the Rogues Gallery, the Batman Rogues Gallery a little bit. I honestly, that brings me to what I have said, and I'm totally blanked on, but Batfleck, more Batfleck. We had an older Batman who was more established. We could have had Court of Owls cinematically, which would have been, for me, like something I really want to see happen. And they kind of did it on Gotham, but not really. Like that was the biggest wasted opportunity, was like the later, older Batman stories that we could have seen.
All right. Yeah, I know. More Batfleck, just in general, is
Batfleck
is the correct answer. But yeah.
Yeah, I would have taken another Harley movie for sure, but
yeah. Eric?
Yeah, you're speaking my language with the Court of Owls, Kathryn. I love the Court of Owls. I would have loved to have seen that. But in general, the Batfleck movie. I mean, that's for me, that's the biggest missed opportunity, because he's still my favorite on-screen Batman. To me, he's Batman ripped right out of the pages of the comics and put on screen. And I would have loved the opportunity to see him in his own film with his own villains. And from everything I hear, that script they had was fantastic. So I think that's the biggest missed opportunity.
Yeah. Joe?
Yeah, and Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke that we only saw for a quick snippet that was supposed to be in that movie. That's the easy answer, is the Batman solo film. I can take the easy way out and just say that original slate. I still look back at that original slate and think what could have been, because if everything just stayed the course, that would have been over and done with, and who knows where we would have been. And like the original Flash, and I like the Flash we got, but like the original Flash, the original idea for a Green Lantern movie, all that stuff, who knows what could have been, the Cyborg movie. There was so much stuff that could have been, but again, it was the land of missed opportunity. I guess he's right, but we're pretty lucky that how we got from there to here and still liking most of the movies is a miracle in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I could fill up a whole episode in missed opportunities. Just thinking Batman-centric. One of the biggest missed opportunities, and I was just thinking about this recently, is Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah.
I didn't hate Jared Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad, but I think Jared Leto was perfect casting for the Joker. Perfect casting. And he and David Ayer overthought it too much.
Do less.
Exactly. Do less. And it could have been perfect, but they overthought it and they pushed it into something that it didn't need to be. And then on top of that, to sort of piggyback off of what you all said, is then to have that Joker go up against Ben Affleck's Batman. David Ayer was very intentional in not letting them meet in Suicide Squad because he wanted to let that happen later. And then it never happened.
Yeah.
It kind of sort of happens in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but kind of sort of because they weren't even in the scene together. It's better than nothing, but it's not what it could have been. And that's so frustrating. That Nightwing movie they announced, I could have had a film Nightwing.
Oh, damn.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot. There are so many missed opportunities that we forget about so many of them because there were just that many.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, just in the Batman corner of the universe, having that as pre-established Batman with a pre-existing Batman universe, all his rogues gallery, the Bat family, all of that could have been explored and very little of it was, and that's very frustrating.
I totally forgot about the Batgirl movie you guys mentioned on the last episode. Not the one that we got. The Joss Whedon Batgirl movie.
Oh, you forgot about Joss Whedon's Batgirl?
Totally forgot about that.
And Gotham City Sirens?
That was the other one I completely forgot about too. Yeah, like there were so many. It's crazy to think about all that stuff.
Yep. All right. Let's do one more. It's getting awful close to bedtime. We'll do one more and then the rest gonna just have to wait. Sorry, folks. This comes from our old pal Stuart from Guernsey. It says, I know that you're not up to date on comics, but in the past I've heard Andy say that he still reads the main Batman title every month. Is this still the case? If so, what's your opinion on the Chip Zdarsky run? Honestly, I was so excited when he was coming over to write it, as I've been reading his Daredevil run, and I thought he had the potential to be the best main Batman books in Scott Snyder. I really tried, but I just can't get on board with it. I'm contemplating giving it up as I find it hard to get through. I've stayed with Batman since issue 1 of Tom King's run. I even stuck through some pretty hard stories as I knew it would pass, but Zdarsky's run seems to be trying way too hard to be something different and keeps repeating itself. I just feel like it's not going anywhere, which really disappoints me. I don't want to spoil anything, as I know everyone reads comics at a different pace, but that's my spoiler-free thoughts. Have you been reading? What do you think of it? Anyway, I hope you're doing okay, and I can't wait to hear the listener rankings as well as yours. Stuart. Thanks, Stuart. Always good to hear from you. Well, I'll just answer, I have not been keeping up on my comic reading. It's been, I keep buying them. They just keep downloading to my iPad, and I keep not reading them. So I'm really behind. So I don't have much insight to share on Zdarsky's run, but you haven't really sold me on it. It doesn't make me want to run out and catch up. I'll tell you that. Eric, are you keeping up?
No, unfortunately. I did start the Zdarsky run because I, like Stuart, was very excited for Zdarsky because his Daredevil run is really good. And I just feel like it's a natural progression. Like if you can write Daredevil really well, Batman seems like a good fit. And it didn't grab me. And unfortunately, I haven't seen, there's been a ton of huge names on the main Batman run since Scott Snyder, but I haven't seen any of them that could make it stick like Snyder did. So yeah, I've fallen off as well.
Joe, what about you?
It's funny to say, it's not uncommon to say this, but it seems like every writer that's been on Batman since Snyder has been divisive, like really divisive. Like I haven't seen anyone that everyone was just like, yes, this is the run to read. And I fell off around Peter Tomasi, I think is when I fell off. And that was Detective. I don't even remember who was doing Batman at the time. Was that when Tynion was doing Batman?
Could have been.
I fell off right around that time. And I just, because of space and all that kind of stuff, I kind of stopped picking up physical copies. And then I got behind on just reading the digital on Infinite. And the last ongoing issues I've run is the Tom Taylor Nightwing, which was awesome. But I fell off of that around issue 100 when they started the Titans book. So,
yeah. No, I mean, that's a great point, though, is the books I've enjoyed the most recently are that Nightwing book and the World's Finest book. I've loved those, but the main
I've heard
Batman
good things
book,
about World's Finest.
yeah, I've really liked it. But even that, I'm months behind. But
The crazy thing is, I mean, it's really, even with like the DC Universe app, with Life, it's kind of hard to keep up with current comics.
yeah,
And a lot of the things I go to are the things outside of continuity, like the Black
Yeah.
Label books and things
Yep.
like that.
There's too many ongoing books.
yeah, it is.
We've
It's a
always
lot.
said that's an issue,
Yeah.
and it's all Batman. There's
yeah. Well, Stuart, we've been no help. Kathryn, have you been
I'm
secretly
super caught up. Yeah.
Oh, good. You got it handled. Good.
Yeah, I definitely am super caught up.
Is that what
No,
you're doing while I'm sleeping?
Yeah, I'm still trying to reread all my Sandman comics right now. It's been sitting next to my bed for 2 years. No, I'm not caught up.
That's okay. I have the Tom King Mr. Miracle sitting on my nightstand that Hunter gave me like 2 years ago, and I still haven't read it. Sorry, Hunter.
I think I still have like 2 Jack Burton comics to finish too. I'm very behind.
Well,
we
I
talk a
feel
lot
like
of
I've
crap about
bashed
Tom
Tom King.
King.
I was just about to say his Mr. Miracle run is fantastic.
It's excellent. It really is.
That's why Hunter gave it to me. He's like, dude, it's amazing, and that's all I've heard. I think even Jamie likes it. So what? And so I just haven't gotten to it.
And his Vision book is great too. Not to go on the other side, but I think I love everything Tom King has ever done except for his Batman.
Well, all right.
Same.
Cool.
Well, I'm sold.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to close the Wayne Manor mailbox. There's still a lot in there. And so thank you for your patience. It's just, it's been a late night. We couldn't get Harley to sleep, and we need to go to sleep ourselves. So I'm going to save some of those emails for next time. If you've got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, please send that to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. And it is worth mentioning that some of those emails that are waiting are about the fact that Holy BatCast turned 10 years old this week. 10 years old. We've been doing the show.
Congratulations.
Thank
awesome.
you. That's insane. I don't believe it, but here we are. So it is worth also mentioning that we are going to do a 10th anniversary special. Obviously, it's not this week. It's not going to be next week either, because next week I have another episode already planned, and it's planned. So, we're going with that. But that'll give me a couple weeks to put together a little 10th anniversary celebration. So that is coming. I haven't forgotten. We do want to commemorate that. It's a pretty big event. So if you do want to send any messages or anything for the 10th, you can do that. Send those to Holy BatCast at rf4rm.com. So that way it can be part of the celebration. So if you got any messages or anything for 10 years of Holy BatCast, we'd love to hear it or see it or whatever. If you want to record a little audio clip, you can do that too. But yeah, send those our way. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll finally get that little special done. But that's where we're going to wrap up this episode of Holy BatCast. Thanks for joining us. And big thank you to my 3 wonderful guests tonight, spending Valentine's Day with me, talking Batman love interests, talking random emails, and I love it. So, Kathryn, always a pleasure. I don't talk to you enough, and so it's always nice when I can do it on a podcast.
Oh, true. It's nice.
Anything you want to plug, or where else can our friends at home find you?
I don't think. I mean, I'm on Letterboxd at Lopan Fan.
Go read the Batman review.
Go read the Batman review if you want to start a fight. I'm on TikTok. I don't do it very much because I don't understand it because I'm too old for it, but I am on there.
Well, during Halloween you had quite a bit on there.
I did. I was putting a lot of like all the DIY stuff I was doing as we were building our haunted house on there, and there's some cute like videos of Harley, but yeah, I'm not feeling the talk lately. I'm not good at social media. Everything is private. I don't post anything fun. I'm really bad at Letterboxd now too. So I'm just progressively bad at social media. I should take a page out of Jamie's book.
It's okay. It's all right.
So no, I have
come and go.
Come and
go. It's fine.
So what you're saying is you enjoy life.
Yeah.
Enjoy real life.
This is true. I do doom scroll way too much. So. No, nothing to plug.
Great. Terrific.
The Fire Rises TM. That's
yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, when my wife, he recommends the other Batman podcast, it's got to be good.
Hey.
Eric, where else can we find you? Are there any other podcasts where we might be able to hear your voice?
Interestingly enough, there is. You can find myself and Joe at The Fire Rises, a Batman podcast, on any podcast platform you listen to. And we're on all the socials at TFR Bat Pod. And my personal accounts are ME Carter 89. But I do want to say, I want to be the first to jump on this train, Andy, and congratulate you on 10 years of this amazing show. I know we pick back and forth, but I did want to tell you, TFR would not exist without Holy BatCast. You were one of the first people I went to when I said I was thinking about starting a podcast and I wanted your advice. And I also said, I don't want to step on your toes. So if you tell me, I'd rather you not do a Batman podcast, then I won't do it. And you said, no, go for it. So I appreciate you, and I wouldn't be podcasting without you and this show. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Eric. Well, we love you. Love having you part of the family. So I really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Also, keep your friends close. Keep your enemies close. No, I for real, I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Joe, what about you?
You guys can find me on X, Instagram, and Letterboxd as J411. Facebook is Joe Fornerato, FORNAROTTO. Over there with Eric on The Fire Rises TM, obviously. Which is ironic because I always screw up the name of our podcast, and now I remember it because you guys always say the TM thing.
You're welcome.
But yeah, to echo what Eric said, it's always a blast coming on here. It's surreal sometimes, to be honest with you, that we get to talk to you as much as we do because we were such fans of the show, and I've listened to you since practically the first episode. It's not quite the first episode, but it's just amazing that it's been 10 years. So congratulations and thank you seriously for all the hours of entertainment and now the friendships that has come along with it. It's amazing. It really is. The impact you have had on our lives just by doing this podcast is ridiculous. And I can't say enough good things to you and to, everyone else that's been involved with the podcast. So thank you. And it was really nice to be on here for this one again. And it was nice to talk to you, Kathryn, too.
You guys too.
So this was great. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Kathryn. And in the spirit of Valentine's Day, Joe, I love you. Eric, I love you. Kathryn, I love you too.
I love you, honey.
So,
and congratulations on 10 years.
Yeah, do you want to congratulate me, Kathryn?
Yeah, I will a little bit later when I find that gif of
Hey-o.
Well, you open up Brendan's card together.
No, of course. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I've said it a bunch recently. It's think about, anybody think about something you've done consistently in your life for 10 years, and there's not much that, there's not a lot of people can usually say, but this is a huge deal, and you've built such an awesome community and so many cool friends and so many people that have celebrated such huge milestones in our lives because they care about, what you've got to say, and I'm just super proud of you. I'm always proud to be your wife. So,
oh, you're the best.
Congrats, honey.
I'm proud to be your husband. Happy Valentine's Day.
I don't have a podcast that's 10 years old, but I'm okay, I guess.
You're the best. You are. All right. I love you guys and everybody out there listening. I love you guys too. Happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for joining us for the our little Valentine's celebration. So please do follow or subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. Again, find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast. If you got something for the Wayne Manor mailbox, that email address again is holybatcast@rf4rm.com. Our theme music was created by the talented Gaurav Venkateswar. You can find his work at gvtunes.com. And don't forget to check out our friends over at manscaped.com. Use the promo code BATSCAPED for 20% off and free shipping. And then over at magicmind.com/BatCast. And the promo code there is BatCast20. But that will do it for this very loving episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Holy BatCast is not affiliated with Warner Brothers or DC Entertainment. The views and opinions shared by the participants are theirs and theirs alone and do not represent the companies or organizations they happen to work for. And Harley stayed asleep. God bless her.
Oh, knock on wood. Don't say that to yourself, please.
Oh, she'll come wandering into our bedroom in a few hours. It's fine. We're used to it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the sense of feeling someone next to your bed and being scared shitless. Like, oh.